A Wilmington City Council member's spouse is accused of acting aggressively and sexually harassing Democratic members, candidates, and elected officials. The new Hanover County Democratic Party filed a grievance against David Andrews. He's the husband of current Democratic City Council member Celeste Andrews. In their grievance, they say David Andrews has acted aggressively towards other council members, county commissioners, and party leadership at various events. They say he also has sexually harassed and touched candidates within the Democratic Party without their consent. In the document, Party Chair Jill Hopman asks the state Democratic Party's Council of Review to remove David Andrews as a precinct chair and to ban him from all future NHCDP events. This is part of what party leadership wrote in its grievance, quote, "When anyone is at a party-related event like a fundraiser or campaigning at a polling site or networking at a social event, they are there to work, fundraise, meet voters and volunteers, and represent the Democratic Party. They are not in attendance to be groped, insulted, harassed, or assaulted." We reached out to Councilmember Andrews to see if she or her husband had any response to these accusations. She told us in part, quote, "These are serious allegations and they must be evaluated through a fair and impartial process based on evidence. David firmly disputes these allegations and is participating fully in the process. Because this matter is now pending before the council, we will not address specific claims outside that forum and expect that this will be handled with the fairness, neutrality, and procedural safeguards such matters require." The North Carolina Democratic Party's Council of Review will have the final say on this matter. We'll keep you updated on what they decide.